Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is July 11, 2017. I believe when Leah shared this on Resistance Chicks Facebook page, she started it out with 3 words. Well, well, well. And I can think of no better introduction than that.
So new research shows the Guccifer 2.0 files were copied locally and not hacked, okay? So here we go. New meta-analysis has emerged from a document published today by an independent researcher known as the Forensicator, which suggests that files eventually published by the Guccifer 2.0 persona were likely initially downloaded by a person with physical access to a computer possibly connected to the internal DNC network, not Russia. And the individual most likely used a USB drive to copy the information. The groundbreaking new analysis irrevocably destroys the Russian hacking narrative and calls the actions of CrowdStrike and the DNC into question. The document supplied to disobedient media via Adam Carter was authorized by an individual known as the Forensicator. The full document referenced here has been published in their blog. Their analysis indicates the data was almost certainly not accessed initially by a remote hacker, much less one in Russia. If true, this analysis obliterates the Russian hacking narrative completely. The Forensicator specifically discusses the data that was eventually published by Guccifer 2.0 under the title NGP Van. This should not be confused with a separate publication by the DNC emails by WikiLeaks. This article focuses solely on evidence stemming from the files published by Guccifer 2.0, which were previously discussed in depth by Adam Carter. Disobedient Media previously reported that CrowdStrike is the only group that has directly analyzed the DNC servers. Other groups, including Threat Connect, have used the information provided by CrowdStrike to claim the Russians hacked the DNC. However, their evaluation was based solely on information ultimately provided by CrowdStrike. This places the company in a unique position of being the only direct source of evidence that the hack has occurred. Now, this is really important because in this interview, why, and Horatio asked this, people are asking this, why would the DNC not hand over their servers to the FBI to confirm or deny such evidence was there? Well, to confirm or deny, right?
We talk about forensics for just a minute because the FBI has the expertise there. And I know there's tremendous investigative value when the FBI is actually able to conduct their own forensics review on devices that have suffered cyber intrusions and attacks. I believe there's some confusion, though, or at least some conflicting reporting as to whether the FBI requested access to the DNC's services, the Democratic Congressional Committee servers, and John Podesta's personal devices. Did the FBI request access to those devices to perform forensics on?
Yes, we did.
And would that access have provided intelligence or information helpful to your investigation and possibly to the findings included in the intelligence community assessments?
Our forensics folks would always prefer to get access to the original device or server that's involved. So it's the best evidence.
Were you given access to do the forensics on those servers?
We were not. We were a highly respected private company, eventually got access and shared with us what they saw there.
But is that typically the way the FBI would prefer to do the forensics, or would your forensics unit rather field the servers and do the forensics themselves?
We'd always prefer to have access hands-on ourselves, if that's possible.
Do you know why you were denied access to those servers?
I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
Was there one request or multiple requests?
Multiple requests at different levels. And ultimately what was agreed to is the private company would share with us what they saw.
Wow.
So if that doesn't show you pretty much sum everything up, the private company said, no, we don't want the FBI looking at this because we don't want it to get out that it wasn't Russia. Okay, because somebody would get a hold of this, and I guarantee you James Comey knows exactly what's going on here. Okay, so the group's president, Sean Henry, is a retired executive assistant director of the FBI, while their co-founder and CTO, Dmitry Aparovich, is senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, whereas they have reported is linked to George Soros. Carter has stated on his website that at present it looks a lot like Sean Henry and Dmitry Aparovich, CrowdStrike executives working for either the HRC campaign or DNC leadership were very likely to have been behind the Guccifer 2 operation. Carter's website was described by WikiLeaks as a useful source of primary information specifically regarding Guccifer 2. Carter recently spoke to Disobedient Media explaining that he had been contacted by the Forensicator, who had published a document that contained a detailed analysis of the data published by Guccifer 2 as NGP-VAN. The document states that the files that eventually published as NGP-VAN by Guccifer 2 were first copied to a system located in the Eastern Time Zone, and this conclusion supported by the observation that the 7Z file times after adjustment by East Coast time fall into the range of the file times in the .RAR files. This constitutes the first of a number of points of analysis which suggests that the information eventually published by Guccifer 2 was not obtained by a Russian hacker. The Forensicator stated in their analysis that the USB drive was most likely used to boot the Linux OS onto a computer that either contained the alleged DNC files or had direct access to them. And so we'll link to this. Bottom line is, this is bombshell news. We all knew it. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Of course, George Soros, the DNC, Hillary Clinton, they probably have another 100 set of lies if this were to ever get out.
To try to cover it up.
Exactly. But know for sure that this was not a Russian hacking, and just that testimony from James Comey should be enough to tell us.
Exactly.
The FBI made multiple requests. This was not a criminal investigation. This was an investigation to help you find criminal action. So you'd think you'd want all hands on deck.
If it really was a Russian hack, and the FBI thought that the DNC servers would help to prove that it was a Russian hack, you would think that the DNC would be more than happy to hand over their servers.
How can you make, like, American policy, basically, when the government and the FBI hasn't even looked at the evidence? They have literally made a whole country pay a price for no evidence. Isn't that guilty?
Based on, exactly.
The government has no evidence. The government has no evidence. The government, they have to take everything into account. They have to bring in, they have to do their own analytics, and then they
we had a very trusted private party look at and then give us
the DNC hack was
analysis.
The only hack that they said the Russians had done. Everything else, from what I understand, was RT news, or just getting propaganda out there, or maybe throwing out there some fake articles, maybe some Pizzagate stuff or something like that. But they have hinged this entire Russian narrative on this DNC hack, and what doesn't the New York Times and the fake news does not cover is the fact that our government has not looked at the DNC servers, and the DNC is hiding in plain sight.
Right.
They haven't even handed those servers over to the FBI, and they refuse to hand them over on multiple requests. Evidence. But don't worry, just trust the crowd strikers who are in Soros's and the DNC's pocket. Trust us. If this was right-wing or whatever, if this was, the RNC, I gotta tell you, the media would have eaten it alive. There would be no meat left on the bones.
Right. So I do kind of find it ironic that this kind of information is coming out so coincidentally with the anniversary of Seth Rich's murder, which was July 10th, 2016.
Right.
If there was an internal hack, there you go. You guys can draw your own conclusions. So I think we're going to sign off here for now, but this is a huge, huge deal.
Right.
All right, this is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. God bless.
I was cold all alone. No place for